But when I started doing these videos, my mom had said, you can say whatever you want about me. It doesn't matter. This is your life, your stories. Couple stories and things that happened with me and my mother, but never really talked too much about her. But I always wonder what would have happened, how my life would have turned out if my mother and father would have stayed together. No matter how bad the shit was, for me and her at home. If she would have stayed, what would have happened with my life, my brother's life, my sister's life, how things would have been if they would have stayed together. Would they have gotten better? Because I always say that when they separated when I was 13 for the final time, that I went from a bad situation to a better bad situation. You know, I went from the household wasn't, I hated being in that home. I hated my life during that time. Fucking hated it. And so, but I lived in a home. I had a room. I had a bed. Me and my brother had our room. We had our beds. Radio in there, TV in there. Even though there was violence and shit like that, there was also the normal part of it too. The baseball and football and paper routes and Boy Scouts and all that kind of shit. But there was violence, and but there was stability as far as you live in the home of your parents. There's breakfast on the weekends, and my mom makes us. During the summertime, she'd make us sandwiches for lunch with chips or whatever, and she made dinner every night. We all ate at the table like normal people do. I go from that to bouncing around everywhere. I had to learn real quick how to survive. I think so did my mother, because she had some kind of stability because my dad worked. When we lived in a home, we always lived in a home. And now it's just survival. We go into from it's not normal, but it's normal. You know, there's violence there, but we have stability. And now we don't have that anymore. It's bouncing around. I'm being passed around from family member to family member now, couch to couch, carpet to carpet. There's no more stability. There's no more dinners at the dinner table no more. There's no more baseball, no more football, no more Boy Scouts, none of that shit. I had to learn how to fucking grow up real quick within weeks. Once I left my dad's house, I think it was within 2 weeks I was already jumped into my neighborhood. And I was dressing like a gang member, and I was into violence because I grew up with violence. It was easy for me. It was like a fish to water. I took to the violence real easy, and I enjoyed it. It made me feel good. I learned to survive, but see, these things are like instinctual, from growing up around people that were criminals. It all came to me like the violence and the survival. It's like I knew how to do it. Um, but for me and my mother, it was now because I'm no longer with my mom, and I'm no longer with my dad, and I'm bouncing from family member to family member. It's all about surviving and trying to get over and trying to manipulate and shit like that. And same thing for my mother. She's trying to survive now too. There's no stability. When she first moved out, she's living in a fucking trailer in a trailer park. And I'm not talking about like the big double wides. I'm talking about the kind of trailer you pull behind a fucking pickup truck. Like the little Aerostreams, the little round ones. She's living in one of those with her boyfriend and my brother and my sister in this really small fucking trailer that only had two beds in it. And there was no room for me there, So, and he was all about survival. Her boyfriend at the time, he had a job, but he was also a thief, and he was all about survival. His whole life was the same thing about survival, in and out of prison and shit like that. So this is why I learned a lot of things from like my uncle QD and my uncle Alex and my aunt Kathy and all my family members. I started learning more and more from them during this time on how to survive. Because there was no more normal life or what for me was normal. You know, the the home life, but with the violence also mixed into it. So it was the same thing for my mother. She's trying to survive, trying to make ends meet, trying to get money together to put food on the table for my brother and sister, and maybe pass me a couple bucks. I'm staying at my grandma's house. Maybe give me a couple, $20 here and there. You know what I mean? Um, so I went from a somewhat normal life to myself that was normal to me, not normal to everybody else, to survival mode, and so did she. And we lived like that for a very long time. We just we were getting barely getting by the skin of our teeth all the time, all the time. You know, um, even to the point where she'd have to call like the gas company or electric company and tell them, hey, because they would turn off the gas electricity in the house, and she'd have to call them and tell them there's kids in the house, and they would turn the shit back on. But she'd have to find the money, try to pay the bill before they turn it back off again. If they turned it off, sometimes they'd put the bill under one of the kids' names, put the electricity under the bill, like one of the kids' names, or the phone under one of the kids' names. My name, my brother's name, just so we have a phone, just so we have some electricity, so we have some gas. It was like that month to month. It was constant where the fucking electricity and gas were getting turned off. We didn't have a fucking phone. Um, Scrounging around trying to get money just to make some fucking beans and rice and tortillas. And then I remember this was one time where we were living in Lawndale behind my uncle's house. He had a duplex and he owned it. He lived in the front and we were renting the back. And it was just we were barely making it. This is when I got back with my mother and was living with her again. I was 15 years old. I was just before I got busted. And I found out that she was selling dope. I had already was selling dope before that. I started selling dope at 13 for my grandmother. So I already knew how to sell dope. But now here I am. I had already went to Fresno and came back. And here I'm living over here with my mother in this back house with my mother, my brother, my sister. It was a 1 bedroom. So, you know, they all slept in one room. I slept in the living room on the couch. And so I found that she was selling dope. But she was also, I think she had a job. I can't remember what she was doing, but she had a job. And, but, it wasn't enough for her and 3 kids. So she was selling dope on the side. And I found out about it. So I remember one day I went to her and I said, hey, I know you're selling. I said, why don't you just give it to me and I'll go sell it. And that way you can work and you ain't gotta worry about it. I'll take care of it. I'll sell it. Just get the stuff for me, or and I'll take care of it. And she was like, no, 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 I can't have you doing that. I can't let you do that. And I said, why? We're barely getting by. I can't get a job. I'm only 15. You're working. You can't fucking work and sell dope at the same time. You gotta be at work. All the times you're at work, you could be making money selling the dope, but you can't do it because you're at work. So just give it to me. I'll sell it. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. And for it, we were talking about it for a little while. Like hour, 2 hours, whatever. She just kept telling me, no, I can't have you doing that. It wouldn't be right for me to do that. You're my son. I said, just don't worry about it. I have to help out. I have to do something. Just give me the fucking dope and I'll go sell it. And so she finally agreed. She said, okay. So she gave me the fucking dope, and I started doing my thing, and I started to sell the dope. So I was selling rocks. And she had told me, she was just like, dude, whatever you do not let nobody come to the house. They fucking paid you, tell them to meet you down the street somewhere, but don't let them come here. So I said, all right. And I remember the first time I sold a rock for my mom, it was to one of my family members. It was one of my cousins. She paged me. I called her back. And she was like, hey, what's up, man? She's like, hey, primo, I need a 20. I'm like, all right, cool. Meet me at the corner. So it's all right. So I'll be there in like 10 minutes. So I waited 10 minutes. I walked down the street and she was parked right there with some other girl that I knew. They were sitting in the car. And I went over to the driver's window. And I told her, I was like, what's up? What's going on? She's like, no, nothing. Just need a 20. I was like, all right. She gave me the 20 bucks. I gave her the rock. And she's looking at it. And just like every fucking basehead, she was just like, what the fuck? What's up with this? And I'm like, what's up with what? And she's like, come on. She's like, fucking with her hand. She's like, you hook me up. I'm your cousin and shit. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck if you're my cousin. You know what I mean? Like, that's a 20. You wanted a 20, right? She's like, yeah, but at least you can give me a little bit more. So I'm not giving you a little bit more than nothing. You wanted a 20, I give you a 20. You want more? Give me more money. And she's like, oh, that's fucked up. We're family. And it's not about family, man. You know what I mean? You want the shit or not? If not, just give it back to me. I'll give you your fucking money back and get the fuck out of here. Don't be calling me no more. Again, I had already knew how to sell dope. I was selling coke when I was 13. So, I knew the talk. I knew what was going on. I knew she was just trying to get over it. You know what I mean? Like, and try to use, oh, we're family. You should hook me up. Like, fuck all that. I'm not trying to hook you. I'm trying to make money here. So I said, just give me my shit back. And she was like, nah, that's cool. Whatever, man. That's cool. I'll take it. I said, yeah, I thought so, So I went back to my house. And so I started doing that, just selling rocks and shit. It didn't, like, to me, even now, there's a lot of people that are just mental, and they would say, what kind of mother would do that? Well, you have to live the way that we live. You have to be in our fucking shoes to understand what kind of mother would do that and what kind of son would do that. You know what I mean? It's easy to be judgmental if you ain't never fucking been there. If you ain't never had to fucking try to survive. We were just trying to survive. We were trying to eat. We were trying to keep the fucking lights on. There's kids in the house. You know what I mean? Uh, I'm the man of the house, and I gotta try to do something. You know what I mean? Even at 15 years old, and so you know that was going on. Then I get busted, and I'm gone for a couple years. And it's crazy because um, I come home while I'm gone, things had started to change, and I didn't know, I couldn't see it because I wasn't there. You know, my mother came to visit me one time when I was up in Paso Robles. She came up there once. So in 2 years, I had over 2 years, 2.5 years, whatever it was, I had only seen her one time. She couldn't afford to come up and see me. She couldn't afford to send me money and shit like that. You know what I mean? So, but things were changing, and I didn't know. I didn't know it. You know, I came home. Um, well, I had got word of some things when I was in SRCC. I remember my dad coming to see me. I was in SRCC. This is just before I got sent up to Paso Robles, and he came to see me, and we were visiting, and he says, "So, do you hear your mom's got a new old man?" And I was like, "No, no, I didn't know that." And he's like, "Yeah, you know who it is?" And I says, "No, I didn't heard nothing about it." And he says, "You know so and so's your cousin so and so's Tia?" And I was like, yeah, I know what you're talking about, you know." He said, "Well, that's her new old man." And for a second, it shocked me, you know, because I knew who this other woman was. You know, she was a fucking. You can't say the word on YouTube. I think they're fucking ban you, but she was a fucking lesbian chick that looked like a dude. You know, she wore dicky shorts and shit like that. At first, it shocked me like to hear it, but it only lasted like a second because I figured like, well, at least I know she's not gonna get beat up and shit like that. I knew she wouldn't let a fucking woman beat her up and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, because my mom was tough. So I was just like, oh, all right, you know what I mean? Like I said, it was a split second that it caught me off guard because I didn't expect to hear something like that. But it didn't really bother me too much because I was protective of my mother, and so I figured, well, I know she's not gonna get hurt because she probably fucked that person up. You know what I mean? She was tough. She knew how to fight. So I knew that no woman was gonna put her fucking hands on her. You know what I mean? So I was like, I kind of felt at ease about the situation. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I ain't gotta worry. That's the thing. It was I. It's like I don't have to worry about her because I'm not there. I'm gone. So I just like I said. I just like okay, like that's what it is. What it is. What the fuck am I gonna do? I'm locked up. There's nothing I can do about it. And there's nothing I would do about it anyway because it's not really my business anyway. You know what I mean? This is like that's her business. She can do whatever the fuck she wants to do. So I go up north, and then I get a visit from my mom. I think maybe like a year after. Sorry, I had a fucking piece of filling and shit in my mouth because I went to the dentist there. I hadn't seen her in like a year or so. So there I get a visit. They call me out and say, "Hey, you got a visit." So I'm like, "Fuck, cool." So go out there. It's my mom, and my grandmother. But I had noticed the difference in my mother. You know, because my mother usually, she had her hair long and feathered and shit. You know what I mean? Now her hair was like shaved on the sides and shit. You know what I mean? She just looked, she looked the fucking part. You know what I mean? She looked the part. and she's dressed different and shit. You know what I mean? So but it's like I said, really didn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? That was her business. You know what I mean? I felt secure while being locked up that she was okay. You know what I mean? That nobody's putting their fucking hands on her. You know what I mean? Taking advantage of her. So whatever. I didn't mention anything. I didn't say nothing to her. I didn't say, hey, I heard this, a year ago, and I never mentioned it to her. But I noticed it. I already knew, but I noticed it. You know what I mean? When I saw her. But it was what it was. And then, that was the only time I got to see her while I was locked up. She couldn't be coming to see me all the time. So then she, she leaves, whatever. And then I don't see her again until she picked me up from the Greyhound Depot when I got out. Picked me up in downtown LA with my aunt. And it's kind of funny because this is how close me and my mother were. Uh, she comes to the Greyhound Depot, and I get out of the bus, and she's right there. Her and my aunt. I think my sister was with her. And, we hug and everything. I get my shit, and I get in the car, and we go. And she says, we have dinner. We have dinner. They're cooking dinner at the house for you right now. There's some people at the house. And so people there to come hang out and see you. So like it's like a little small party. Some of my family members would be there. So I was like, all right, cool. So we get to the house, and the thing was, that's where I seen how unstable her life was also at that time, because she was living with my cousin. This is my cousin's apartment, not hers, and she's sleeping on the fucking on one of those couch beds in the living room. Her and my sister, and there was a spare room there that my cousin. I think my cousin, because my cousin was a lesbian also, and I think some girl that she was seeing at the time had a little kid, and the little kid was sleeping in the spare room. There was two beds in there, and the little kid, with little boy, was sleeping in that room. So when I got there, my mom, and my cousin was like, "Look, check it out. There's an extra bed in the other room over there. You can sleep on that extra bed." So I was like, "All right, cool." So I put my shit in that room, and I had some cousins that were there. My aunt came by, and I remember there was this girl there. She was like my age, but she was real short, probably like 4'11", real small, petite chick, real pretty girl. And her mom was my mom's friend that my mom used to hang out with all the time. So when we get there, they were making tacos and rice and beans and all that shit. So I walk in, whatever, I put my stuff away, and everybody's hugging me, and I sit down on this like a lazy boy chair, and people were talking to everybody. We're in the living room, we're all talking and shit. And the girl comes over, and she introduces herself to me, and then she's like, "Are you hungry? Do you want me to get you some food?" And I told her like, "Yeah, that's cool. I appreciate it." And so she goes, walks away. And then my mom comes, and she's like, "Oh, that's so and so's daughter, my friend's daughter," and blah blah blah. I invited her over here for you. And I'm like looking at my mom, like my mom, we just like smile at each other. She's like, she's a nice girl, and blah blah blah. And so I said, all right. And but I was kind of nervous, I just barely came home and shit, what I mean. And, I didn't really have a lot of experience with girls because I got busted when I was young. So I really didn't know what to really say, you know what I mean. So the girl comes back and she brings me my food, and so I'm eating. Then I finish my plate. She comes to get it, and she's like, "Are you want more?" I was like, "No, I'm fine." She's like, "You want something to drink? You want a beer or something?" So like, she gave me a beer, and then she's like, "You can I sit in your lap?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like fucking nervous, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck, It's like, "Yeah, if you want to." So she sits on my lap. She puts her arm around me, and she's just like sitting there with me, where I'm just talking to my family and shit. The funny thing about that chick is that Nothing happened with me and that girl. We hung out that night, didn't do nothing with her. You know what I mean? I think I might have fucking kissed her or whatever, but other than that, nothing really happened. But I was kind of wanting to work my way into to try to go to a different level with that girl. You know what I mean? But just didn't know how. I didn't have, like I said, didn't have the experience. Like that. I wasn't like some kind of fucking player when I was really young. Didn't really have the experience with girls and shit like that. Not too much. I had a girlfriend before I got busted, but that was the only time I had a girlfriend, and I was just, like I said, I was really inexperienced. You know what I mean? And didn't really know what to do, what to say, and it turns out, like, within a month, my cousin that where I lived at, my lesbian cousin, she fucking swooped up on her, and she snatched her up, and she turned her out. And I would see her all the time now, but now she was, same shit, shaved the side of her fucking head and shit. You know what I mean? She just, everything changed about her. And she became my cousin's girlfriend for years. They were together. You know what I mean? I used to fucking talk to my cousin like, "Hey, you're fucked up, dude. Like, I barely got out. You wouldn't snatch the fucking chick right out. She snatched the chick at that. The only one that I could have got at that time. You went and snatched her." And she was like, "Well, you wasn't doing nothing. You wasn't making your move. I let it go. I seen her coming around and shit, but you wasn't doing it. So, hey, if you're not gonna do it," she goes, she's nice looking. So I snatched her up. And I was just like, we used to clown about it and shit, you know what I mean? Because my fucking gay cousins fucking snatched the chick from me. But, that's how my mom was. She even fucking tried to hook me up with a chick, you know what I mean? To when I first got out. But then, me and her had a fallout. And, we didn't talk for a while. Then again, me and my mom ended up back in Fresno again together, and it was the same shit, man. Just, trying to fucking survive, you know, um, doing anything we could to get by, to live. You know what I mean? To have the gas and electricity on. You know what I mean? I was selling dope. Um, Told the story about when she went with me to go collect some fucking dope money and shit. You know what I mean? From fucking Fat Amy. If you watch the Fat Amy video, that was me and my mom. We were out there trying to collect. You know what I mean? Or writing bad checks. You know what I mean? We were just trying to fucking survive. You know what I mean? But the thing is that, like I said, I always think like, what would happen if that never happened? If they never got separated? If my mom just said fuck it and just kept going along with what was going on at home, and I had no other choice but to be there and continue going on to continue living for the next 5 years with what was going on at home. What would have happened? Would I have graduated high school? Would I have become a fucking plaster like my father? Um, would I have ended up in fucking prison? You know what I mean? Because when I look at the way that I was raised, and I'm not saying this is what it is, I'm just saying this is what it looks like to me in my own mind. You know what I mean? What the things I was going through as a kid, it was like I was being prepared for the the gang life. You know what I mean? To be able to deal with pain, physical pain, to be able to take a fucking beating and not cry, to just take it, take it, to being punished or I'm locked in the room, can't come out, not locked, they don't lock the fucking door on me, but I can't come out for a week, maybe 2 weeks, one time a month, to reading books. When I got in trouble, I had to read books, couldn't watch TV, could only come out of the room to go to the bathroom or to take a shower, to eat. Other than that, I'm in the room reading books. Um, to not being afraid of anyone. Um, it's like you're just another man like me. The fuck I gotta be afraid of you for? There's nothing you could do to me that I can't do to you. So why I gotta be afraid of you for? You know what I mean? So I grew up like that, not being afraid. Don't be afraid. The fuck is this guy gonna do to you that you can't do to him? You know what I mean? He's no better than you are. You know, and like I said, it was all about being tough, learning how to fucking fight and defend yourself. You know what I mean? And learning how to take pain. Those are things that I was learning at a young age. And I had said it before in another video. When I first got locked up and the first time they put me in a fucking cell, it was like I had been there before. You know what I mean? It was no big deal. It was like I knew what to do. I knew not to be afraid. When they let everybody out and came out to the day room and shit, I knew not to be afraid. I knew to fucking stand up for myself. I knew how to fight. You know what I mean? Don't be afraid of because people that are afraid to fight is because they're afraid of pain. They're afraid of getting hit. But I wasn't afraid of that. I've dealt with that shit for years. You know what I mean? So I wasn't afraid to fight. You know what I mean? And that's the reason why I am still the way that I am now. You know what I mean? Like I try to avoid things. If I can avoid it, I'll avoid it. But once you push too fucking far, there's no turning back from that. For you, not for me. You know what I mean? There's no turning back. There's no okay, fuck it. I'm sorry. No, you already started. I told you to leave me alone. You don't leave me alone. So you put yourself in a very bad situation because I don't know how to stop now. You know what I mean? Because this is what I've been told. This is what I've been taught. So in my eye, in my mind, in my own eyes, it's like I was raised to be part of that lifestyle. And so I think that maybe I would have ended up in prison though. You know what I mean? Later on, maybe I would have, you know, did some worse shit than I was doing and end up in fucking prison doing life in prison or in and out of prison my whole life if we would have stayed. But then again, I don't know. I don't know what would happen. I think about it. Um, Again, like what would happen with my brother and my sister. You know what I mean? Um, but everything happens for a reason. You know what I mean? Like I said before in other videos, I have to go through things I had to go through to get where I'm at right now. Yeah, you think about the what ifs, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. You know what I mean? Me and my mother had to go through the shit that we were going through. You know what I mean? Now her life is just, it's a lot different than it was back then. Like I said, she's a Christian. You know what I mean? Her and my aunt work together. They clean houses in Fresno. They live together and work together, and they take care of my grandfather, who's in his 90s. I think he's in his 90s. He's still alive. That's their dad. But he's still kicking, and they take care of him. It's just them two and my grandfather. But there, I mean, there's just so much more. There's just so much more. Uh, but it would take me fucking hours, days maybe, to talk about all the things. You know what I mean? There's some things I haven't mentioned. Of when she first left, when I was 13. There was a story behind that. Of the person that she had left with. You know what I mean? I had knew about it. I knew about it before it was gonna happen. I knew that we were gonna be leaving soon. That we would be leaving the house. I knew who we were leaving with. Uh, and that shit all happened within a month period. I found it all out. I was told by my mother, and I was just so anxious to get the fuck out of the situation that I was like, when she said, "Can I trust you? Can I trust you not to say nothing? If I tell you that we're gonna get out of here, we're gonna leave. Can I trust you not to say nothing?" And I said, yeah, because I wanted out of it so bad. I said, yeah, of course. And so, I knew what was going on. Maybe about a month before she left. But things, my dad threw a wrench in the whole fucking program, thinking that, keeping me and my brother, I guess my mother would come back. And it didn't work out that way. It didn't happen that way. But I had to stay with my father. Here I am thinking that I'm getting out of here. And she leave me behind. She left with my sister. So that kind of like I felt like fucking betrayed, from that point on. Like wait a minute, man. You told me I was going. You told me I was leaving. I didn't have to be here no more. And now you're leaving me here. And you're not gonna be here with me. The fuck's gonna happen to me now? You know. And but it's crazy because once she left, things changed in my house. Things changed between me and my father. Um, he wasn't the same fucking guy no more. You know what I mean? He was more caring at the time. I don't know what I don't know what happened. You know what I mean? But for that time that I was there with him, at first I didn't want to be there. But then after a few days went by and I seen that he was a different person. I really didn't mind it after that. But I still kind of felt um, the fucking betrayal part. Like I felt betrayed, like because I wanted to get the fuck out of there so bad. I thought I was finally gonna be fucking free of all this shit, and then here I am. So, but I didn't like hold a grudge against my mother for that shit. You know what I mean? Because later on, I understood why it had happened that way. Like I said, it took me about a month or so before I took my dad about a month or so before he was like, he wasn't used to that shit. I don't think my father was used to it. Working, coming home, he has two sons that he has to take care of now. My mother's not there no more. You know, and my uncle is living with us now. So my uncle's like our fucking babysitter. And he was cool as fuck. But my dad had to be home now, and he had to come home from work and make sure that our homework's done, and now he's doing all the shit that my mom had to do. You know what I mean? He wasn't used to that. So finally after a month I was able to get the fuck up out of there and go stay at my grandmother's house. But that's just a little bit of what was going on with me and my mother. We were always real close. She lives she lives now. She lives in Fresno. She's been there for a long time now. We don't see each other that often. I haven't seen my mom in probably I don't know 2 years, maybe close to 3 years. Um, I don't go up to Fresno that much, and she doesn't come here down here. Uh, the thing is that this Thursday, I got to go to a funeral for one of my family members that passed away, and I'm kind of looking forward to going, but then again, I'm not because I've been so disconnected from my family for so long. This is my mom's side of the family, but I've been disconnected from my whole family. Like I said, I've been bouncing around, my whole life, and I don't see my family members, my cousins, and all that shit that live out in the harbor area. I don't see them. I don't visit them. They don't visit me. You know what I mean? If we talk, talk to each other on Instagram or Facebook, and that's about it. You know, um, there's no phone calls. There's no text messages. They don't even have my phone number. This is gonna be the first time I see a lot of my family members on my mom's side after years. Some of them over 20 years. So I'm not looking forward to because it's a fucking funeral. Kind of looking forward to seeing family members I ain't seen in a long time. You know what I mean? I don't know if my mom's gonna be there or not, but because that's her cousin. He's my second cousin. It's her first cousin. I don't think she's gonna come down though. But if she did, yeah, it'd be the first time I see my mom in probably like 2.5, 3 years, something like that. she's more closer now to my brother and sister because they live up there with her. You know what I mean? I haven't lived around my mother since fuck since 1995. The last time I lived around my mother, that we lived in the same area. She's been up there. I've been down here. So you're looking at almost 30 years that we've been away from each other and seeing each other here and there. You know, I think since almost 30 years, I think I've seen my mom, fuck, in 30 years, 7 times, maybe 8 times in 30 years. That's not that much in that amount of time, but so it's not that me and my mom are not close, but she's with my brother and sister and their kids, so I think she's more closer with them than she was with me because I don't really see her and we don't really talk often. Well, when we do talk, we're on the phone for like fucking hour and a half, 2 hours, always laughing and talking shit, but we don't see each other in person. You know what I mean? But like I said, I think she's a lot closer with them now than she is with me. Um, and it's just because we don't live by each other. And so either if I don't see her this weekend, or I mean this week at the funeral, then I've been telling my wife that I need to go up there and just. But my thing is, if I go up there, I go up there for the day, and I come right back home. I don't like sleeping anywhere but my own bed. So I'll leave early in the morning, go up to fucking Fresno, visit for a couple hours, and get back on the car, and I'm back on the fucking road going home because I want to sleep in my own bed. I don't want to sleep in somebody else's house. I don't feel comfortable sleeping in anybody else's house, and I really don't feel comfortable sleeping in hotel beds and shit like that. I want to come home. I'd rather sleep in my fucking car before I sleep in a hotel. I don't like sleeping in hotels either. But so that's a little bit about me and my mother. Like I said, there's so much more. We've been through a lot of fucking shit together. Uh, she's like I said, she's another person that I learned survival from. Not just my father, not just my uncle QD and Alex and Anita, Kathy, my aunt Lydia, my grandmother. They all of them taught me something. Mainly survival, different ways of surviving and getting through life. Um, because they were all fucking criminals at one point. But I learned a lot, and it helped me out when I finally went up on my own. When I came out here to the IE, and I was learning to fucking survive, living out here without my parents, without somebody to help me. You know what I mean? I had to figure things out. But again, these things that were teaching me would come to mind, and it was like a fish to water. It came natural how to survive and how to get shit. It came from my mother. It came from my father. You know what I mean? So, like I said, there's a lot more to the story. There's just things that I haven't said, haven't talked about. Like I said, that maybe one day I'll tell you, how it happened that I knew that we were leaving, that we were, that she was leaving my father, and and just living that life with her and her boyfriend, and even a fucking other boyfriend that she had. You know what I mean? Try to fucking stab the dude. Um, that was protective of my mother, you know what I mean? I tried to stab the motherfucker, and then another time she brought a fucking Feisal dude to my house and told him, hey, wait outside, I'll be right out. And I can see the dude in the window. I'm sitting on the couch and looking at the window. I see this motherfucker. Now, who the fuck is this fucking guy? So she comes in the house and I'm like, who's that? She said, oh, he's my friend. He's taking me out. Oh, all right. She goes in the room. I go out the back door, pull a knife on the dude. And they say, don't ever come over here again. He's like, oh, I'm just your mom's friend. I ain't got no problem. I said, I'm telling you right now, if you come over here again, I'm going to fucking kill you. Better not do that to my mother. Better make sure she comes home. She's okay. And after that, don't ever show up over here again. Because I'll fucking kill you. And I walked back in the house. And act like nothing. Mom's like, okay. All right, son, I'll see you later. All right, mom. See you later. Motherfucker never came back again. Never seen that dude at my house again. You know what I mean? It was like stories like that. You know what I mean? Story of her dating a fucking black guy. That was a fuck. That was I don't even fucking like thinking about that shit. You know what I mean? But you know, that's another story. You know, chase that motherfucker with a knife and kill that dude too. You know what I mean? Fucking one day I threatened him, say, hey, man, you one days I'm gonna catch you. You know, one of these days I'm gonna catch you. You know, it's a matter of time. I was only 13 years old at the time too. But like when I told him, one day she's not gonna be around, and I'm gonna fucking cut your throat. Better hope that that day don't come for you because I'm gonna kill you. I don't want you here. And I told him why. You know what I mean? I told him exactly why. I was calling him all kinds of N words, and I wasn't talking about the one with the fucking A at the end either. So let him know I'm gonna fucking kill you if I get a chance. You know, I want you around here. And that didn't last long. Like I said, I was protecting my mother. Um, but you know, there's a lot of fucking different things, man. We were going through and shit. But you know, time my mom robbed the fucking candy store. That's another fucking story. You know, let's just tell you about that one another time. We were doing gangster shit. You know what I mean? Motherfucking mom's breaking into the fucking into the into the safe at the fucking candy store and stealing all the money. But yeah, we were surviving this shit, man. But anyways, that's this video is long enough. I can go on and on about the shit that we were doing or shit that she was doing and how she taught me how to survive. But I'll save it for another video. So, anyways, thank you guys for watching the videos. Please like, share, subscribe. Got any questions? Go ahead and hit me up. Hit me up on the comments or Instagram. Same name as the YouTube channel. You hit me up on Instagram, leave a message there. And I'll be talking to you guys later.